Treasure is brought to you by EB Games. We take games seriously. Hey, I've got an old classic here from Electronic Arts. It's called Future Cop L.A.P.D, and it's basically you're in control of this RoboCop type robot. It's a very dark story for the game, but it's actually a lot of fun playing as the cop. Lots of really cool special effects in the game. The explosions look amazing. There's hordes of little bad guys that run at you, and you can blow them all away. There's lots of little special weapons that the big robot guy has. This is also a great game in multiplayer. There's sort of this real-time strategy type element to the multiplayer. It's split-screen two-player. All the action takes place from an overhead perspective isometric view, and you're looking at your little robot guy as he moves around the mazes of the city. He's got heavy weapons. He's got sort of machine gun ammo. Very fun, very fast, and it looked great on the PlayStation 1. Go check it out. It's called Future Cop L.A.P.D. Hey, welcome to Versus. Today it's all snowboarding games. We've got 1080 Avalanche from Nintendo for the GameCube versus AMP2 from Microsoft for the Xbox.
Well, I thought the graphics overall in AMP2 were done a lot better.
Yes,
overall,
I agree.
They're a lot more realistic. You get the little sparkles in the snow and stuff like that. 1080 seemed to have a little bit more cool effects. The snowdrops melt on the screen.
You've got deer and squirrels running around all over the place. But I agree with you. AMP2 looks much cleaner to me, much more realistic, especially in high resolution. The graphics are phenomenal. The characters look great. The stunts look really cool. AMP2 has much more of a realistic looking flair. But what about the gameplay? That's the most important part of the game, right? Obviously.
Yeah, well, 1080 is more, I think, of the arcadey style game, similar to SSX, although I don't think it's better than SSX.
Well, most of the 1080 experience is about racing, except you're only racing against one other opponent, one computer-controlled opponent. You can do some multiplayer gaming in there as well, but it seems a little bit thin when you compare it to an SSX, which has a lot more effects going on.
Or an AMP2.
And AMP2, it feels more like a realistic,
more realistic.
Yeah, trip to the mountain. You've got different modes, but and you're trying to get media sponsorship and things like that.
More hardcore snowboarders are definitely going to like AMP2 a lot better, I think.
Absolutely, and the thing that really makes AMP2 shine, even though both games have a multiplayer component, the online play of AMP2 on Xbox Live is unbelievable. I love the King of the Hill mode where you actually have to do tricks and stunts and possess sections of a mountain as you go down. There's also a racing mode online. Both games have a bit of a career thing where you can, increase your stats and make your riders better. You can collect boards in both games. Now, what about the audio in both these games?
Well, because 1080 is more of the arcade style, you also get those cheesy arcade voiceovers.
Yes, you do.
What's up, yo?
Yeah.
What's up, yo?
They also have a lot of good ambiance sound effects.
Yes.
Like the train passing over and the helicopters and things like that.
The Avalanche effects are beautiful. I mean, they look great and they sound great. They got a really good sense of ambience there for sure.
Now, the music in 1080, they got about 20 licensed songs, including some, bands like Finger 11 and things like that.
Which fits the style of the game.
But
doesn't compare at all to what AMP2 delivers, which is 300 pieces of music that you can snowboard to, and they all are completely different. You've got slower tunes, you've got faster hard rockin' tunes.
You can also load your own soundtrack in for AMP2 as well on the Xbox.
Yeah, if you can't find the music that you like in AMP2, you can actually load in your own soundtrack and listen to that, which is amazing.
Which you could actually load in the soundtrack to 1080,
right,
including Finger 11. So there you go.
They both sound good, but I think AMP2 definitely takes the cake, and it's from 5.1 surround if you've got that set up at home. So overall, which snowboard game do you think brings more value and fun to snowboard gamers?
I got to give my nod to AMP2.
Right.
I think SSX is a better game than 1080 in the arcade style.
Right.
And AMP2 is the most realistic, snowboarding game out there.
I gotta say, I was a bit disappointed with 1080. I don't think they upgraded this game enough. It definitely doesn't compare with SSX 3. And AMP2 is my favorite snowboarding game of all time. I think that game is absolute genius, especially on Xbox Live. So what would you give 1080 Avalanche?
I give 1080 a 7.
I'd give it a 7 as well. What about AMP2?
AMP2, an 8.
9.5 from me. This is a fantastic game. So in the snowboarding wars, it looks like AMP2 triumphs over 1080 Avalanche.
Most definitely.
Today on the show, we looked at Medal of Honor Rising Sun for the PlayStation 2. This is a great-looking World War II shooter with some technical problems that get in the way. On the PC, we looked at Call of Duty. It has so much action, sometimes it's hard to tell who you're shooting at. Also on the PC, we looked at Secret Weapons over Normandy. This is a very clever arcade action flying game, but it's missing online play. In Versus, we looked at 1080 Avalanche for the GameCube. This is a fun arcade-style snowboard game with some cool environmental effects. We also looked at AMP2 for the Xbox. This is an awesome, much more realistic snowboard game with a great collection of online modes. Tommy and I both thought that AMP2 was a much better game. In hardware, we looked at the Gamester Clash Pads. You can affect your opponent's controllers with these things, but the pads are clumsy, uncomfortable, and the idea is just plain silly. On the Game Boy Advance, Tommy reviewed Medal of Honor Infiltrator. This is a great top-down shooter with some really cool production values. Well, that's the end of the show. We're all done with World War II games. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.
Okay, so Sphincter, the way this game plays is that what it is like a 3D game.
Right. Excellent.
Thank you.
Okay, what are you going to give it?
Thank you and good night.